It's that time again for EverQuest Next Into the Portal. Your hosts for this evening are Geek Domo, Lock 6 Time, and Trending. Let's get to the show right about now. Hello, everybody.
Bonjour. Ça va?
Bonjour. Ça va?
Willkommen.
Wie geht's? Was ist los?
Spanish? Any Spanish?
Hola.
Hello.
¿Cómo está?
No, that's Richard O'Brien doing hello from Rocky Horror. Sorry,
Yes.
it's not the same thing.
I love that movie. Let's break into a real quick time warp and then we'll come back to the show.
Ooh, no, I'm not dancing on this desk. It'll never hold up.
No, okay. So, hey everybody, it is us, we, the group here doing Into the Portal. It's myself this evening, Locke as always, and then a new addition, Trendane. Welcome, Trendane.
Thank. New edition. I'm just a special guest. I'm not a new edition. That makes it sound like
You saw the intro. It had you on it. You're here now.
that was not my fault. That was not my fault.
You will join the group.
Okay, all right.
You belong to Domo now, Trendane.
That's a danger.
Yes.
Signed contract with EQ Nexus.
Yes, it's definitely a signed contract. So anyway, Trendane is joining us this evening. Mr. Zaphos was busy building bricks, so he was not able to make it this night.
Sad times.
It is. So, Mr. Trendane, would you please give us a little bit of a rundown about yourself?
No.
Okay.
Oh, I mean, yes.
Yes,
Sorry,
see,
I
that
always
whole
get those wrong.
Backwards.
Well, let's see. Up until recently, and I know people are going to hate me for this, I worked at Electronic Arts. Sorry, I know, I'm sorry. But I tried to make Origin better. I was on the QA team that was responsible, well, supposed to be responsible, for making it better. And sometimes they just didn't listen to us. But I don't work there anymore, so give me that piece of goodness for that. Now I'm kind of an out-of-work voice actor, so it's like trying to find work anywhere I can go, and somehow I wound up here. But the main reason for being here is so that I can kind of try to bring a QA perspective to the discussion that's going on, because a lot of times it gets left out of development discussions and whatnot.
Awesome. Yes, exactly. We will be asking you what your opinion of this stuff is. We have some special stuff. We'll talk about that tonight. And hello, Zarya. Saying hi to somebody over there. Saying hi to me.
Oh, to you? Well,
Yeah, no, you're
I'll
not
take
included
that
yet.
back.
Yes.
I'll
No
take
waving
that
at
back.
Zarya. Not yet.
Very important man.
Something like that. All right, so tonight we have some new stuff to talk about, I think, and some old stuff. We're actually going to rehash some things. And let's get to it. All right? All right, our first topic for this evening is EverQuest Nexus 24-hour Extra Life Gaming Marathon.
Yay!
Locke or Trendane, either one of you want to explain what Extra Life is, and I'll get the information while you're talking about it.
Locke, why don't you take that one? I'm going to pour
Sure.
beer.
There is, on the 2nd of November, EQ Nexus is going to be doing a sort of charity drive fundraiser, 24-hour live stream in support of the charity. I don't want to get the name wrong. Oh, God.
Extra Life.
Extra Life charity is helping, raising money to help children who are poorly and and need money to get better. So if you go to eqnexus.com, it's on the front page at the moment. It's got all the information of how you can support, either financially or if you want to get involved, donating any time or other resources you may have. All the money goes to helping out little babbies who could do with a leg up. So go over there and help out, support, because why not? Why not? You know, like what else are you going to spend your money on? Drugs? Is it drugs? It's drugs, isn't it?
And
Do
even
that.
if you
Help
can't
children.
even if you can't spare the money for it, you could probably also get involved if you're any good at playing video games. A friend of mine, former coworker at EA, he did something very similar. It was a similar charity out here. I think it was called One Up, and he entered, and he basically was one of the guys that was playing. I think it was Mario Kart or something for like 24 hours and stuff to try to raise, and people in the community sponsored him. And the more people that sponsored him, the more money he was capable of raising. It was a really, really awesome charity.
Yeah, you can get in as low as like 10 cents an hour if you wanted to be kind of a cheapskate, or you can go as high as you want, $10 an hour if you want. But it's really easy to do, easy to get into, and you can join a team, and you guys can do tag team. We did this before when I was working at a network on YouTube. I won't go into that one yet, but anyway, we did a 24-hour marathon. We were playing Guild Wars and World of Warcraft, and we were doing a Guild Wars 2 World of Warcraft level fest. So we raced each other to see who could level the fastest in each game, and we broke up into 2 teams. So it can be a lot of fun, and 24 hours goes pretty quickly if you have a team that you can trade off and take an hour break, go to the bathroom, whatever, take a nap. But it's a lot of fun. So help support EQ Nexus. They're our sponsor for the show, of course, and help support Extra Life. It's for kids. You just play games and have a good time. So pretty easy to get involved.
Mm-hmm.
All right, very good. So on with our next topic, which is we're going to revisit contested content, which we talked about in detail in a previous episode, but it did not go so well. Not with us, but the whole yay or nay thing was bad.
Mm.
So Dave Georgeson just came out this week with Omid, and they did a video talking about the contested content, and Dave Georgeson sort of clarified it a little bit.
A great deal.
A great deal. What are your guys' thoughts?
Well, for me personally, I mean, I completely misunderstood the poll when the roundtable came out.
Mm-hmm.
I did not understand what they meant by contested versus not contested. I thought it was focused more on a PvP thing. So I was like, I mean, if other people want to do it, that's fine, but I have no interest in PvP. So nah. Once he explained it in the video this past week, it made much more sense, and I was like, yes, absolutely, yeah, contested stuff is fine. I just didn't have that one little kernel of knowledge that made everything make sense.
Right. What do you think, Mr. Locke?
Well, if you remember when the question came out, it did annoy me a little bit. It was, what was it, 5 words, contested content, yay or nay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And, my whole thing was just, there's not enough information to base anything on. From the video that they just released explaining what they were talking about, for me, the one thing that really kind of put my mind at rest about it was Omid just said, of course, we will have, like, there will be bosses that, you just kill them once and, whoever tags it first gets it. But because of the way that the game is structured, you're not going to the same place over and over and over again. And, David Georgeson said he's confirmed numerous times just this week that the whole world, it all works on a kind of push and pull system. So things are moving around constantly. And, something might be in one area one week and somewhere completely different the next. So it's not a case of, I think people who were against contested content were generally against the idea of spawn camping and having to spend, multiple hours waiting at one particular point just trying to get a first hit in on a mob for your group. But apparently that's not going to be an issue. So I'm all in favour. I think in a sandbox game, if they're going to build it and pitch it as a sandbox game, it kind of has to be that way. And I think that the way that the world is designed and the way that the mobs work and move around, I think it's great, cracking stuff, brilliant. I'm really chuffed.
Yeah, it's a good British word, chuffed.
I was going to say, you went all kinds of British with that last little bit there, didn't you?
No, just to clarify a little bit, if people who are watching might not know what we're talking about, in a normal MMO, you would have an area that was like a static spawn spot. Like right off to the left side of the road, there was an orc camp, and every half hour it would respawn brand new orcs, and somebody would come by and kill them, and you were trying to get the items from the orcs, so you'd always have to kind of camp that spot, wait your turn, and then get in there and try to get the thing. What's happening now is with Storybricks and the whole emergent AI, what they're talking about is each one of these mobs will have sort of a wants and needs list, and if at the moment they want food, they'll run around looking for sheep. And if they then want wood to cook the sheep with, set up a fire, then they'll run around the forest looking for the wood. So they're going to have these sort of things. So the mobs are going to be kind of free range to walk around. And it's not going to be just orc camp number 1 on the left side of the road that's always got a spawn spot. And so that's why he was trying to clarify that a little bit more with people.
I think just the fundamental design decision of not having static spawns is, I mean, it's hard to even imagine like an MMO like of all the fantasy MMOs that we've played. Like, imagine if the same mobs don't just keep appearing in the same area over and over again. It's really like one of those decisions that it feels like it's quite a small thing, but I think in terms of, people throw around the term like revolution of of the genre or whatever. Every new MMO that comes out is a revolution, but if you think of really what that means for everything about the way an MMO works, like how you go about gathering farming materials, if you want to grind XP, if you want to complete a quest where you've got to kill 10 rats, like where are the rats to begin with? I think it's a real game changer, if you will.
Absolutely.
And what was I going to say? Oh, Cyril made a really good point in chat. I missed it.
Not much of an issue unless they put in a lot of fast travel.
Yeah, fast travel. That's the thing. Which is, it's another thing that's brought up recently. The idea of fast travel.
And I guess he's talking about, or she, sorry, I get it right. They're talking about the fact that if you could fast travel from mob point to mob spawn point areas, then it makes it even worse. So instead of you having to run around trying to find the ogres or orcs, you could then bounce from spot to spot all the way through and just quickly get to them. It would kill them. Kill the whole idea. All right. What do you think there, Mr. Trendane?
2 points.
Okay.
First, for any who were curious, what I'm drinking is a Sea Dog Wild Blueberry Wheat Ale.
Let's zoom in on that.
Okay.
Oops. Here we go. It's got the cutest looking dog ever on the cover.
Yep. It's very good stuff.
Yeah.
Very tasty. I'm not normally one for a fruity beer, but it's actually quite nice. Second point, which is something we have not yet covered, and that is, if any of you guys have questions for the Q&A at the end of the show...
Oh, jeez, look at him. Look at him. He's so pro.
He's a pro.
Totally got us on that. Well done.
Goodness, look bad.
There we go. We always say at the beginning of the show, I guess because we had somebody new this week, I kind of forgot that. But yes, okay, so, yeah, anybody who has a question... During the show, put your question in brackets, and we have a couple people in the audience right now that are moderators. They're going to grab those questions and put them into a chat here so that we can get the questions at the Q&A section at the end of the show. So I apologize. Thank you so much, Trendane, for reminding me.
I aim to please.
I aim to play. Very good. All right, so on to the next topic. This was something somebody just wrote about it. 9 pages WTF. So now a new lore story has been released. It's The Enemy of My Enemy Part 1, and it's 9 pages. I saw a little post talking about how they're going to be shifting from the larger 22,000-word novellas and then shrinking them down into shorter little snippets of lore. What do you guys think?
As someone who's going to be reading them at my desk, personally, I'd much rather have the shorter ones. I think that's cool. People complain about it being short, but it is part 1. We can expect it. Part 2 is not going to be a month from now. It'll most likely be next week. That's my opinion on that. And they did. I think, was it on Reddit? Dexella, one of the community people who's doing a great job, did ask the question whether we preferred. I think it was on Twitter. They asked if we'd prefer like shorter story things or like the longer big novella style chunks. I prefer the short ones. I don't know about you guys. As far as the actual story, I think it's interesting. It's a nice look at how they're kind of rebranding the ogres as like a higher race that's fallen on sort of tough times rather than just being quite a primitive sort of race to begin with.
For myself, as someone who doesn't know that much about the lore of EverQuest to begin with, because I never really played the first EverQuest at all. I mean, I sat next to a friend of mine while he played, and they were, taking down Lord Nagath, and I was like, "What is that? What is that? What is that?" And he's like, "Shut up!" Trying to die. And then when EQ2 came out, I was already, up to my eyes in WoW. So that really didn't help any. And it wasn't until much later that I actually started getting into EQ2, by which point everybody was so far ahead of me that it was virtually impossible to partner with anyone, and I never had a chance to learn any of the lore. So, but with the smaller iterations, this again speaking from a game development, design, and QA standpoint, the smaller iterations you can produce them much faster, and since there aren't as many assets, it's also easier to fold them into the game because it doesn't take as long to develop them. It's just faster all around to be able to, and it's a model that's been coming up slowly, kind of through the muck, and slowly emerging, so that people are like, wait a minute, this means that we can keep really fresh, new content coming in little pieces all the time, rather than having to wait a year to get a huge expansion pack out that people are going to burn through in, a month at most, and then they will unsub again and just come back when the next thing comes out. If there's a constant, influx kind of trickle sort of thing, that people are far less likely to unsub. So it definitely has its benefits.
Absolutely. All right. They were saying in there that EQ2 came out. Were you in beta for WoW?
No.
So you're just like an overlap there.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, we got some people saying that it didn't come out till after.
Like they know what they're talking about.
Yeah, I know. He's probably testing a million other games at that point.
Spore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So I'm actually looking forward to it. As I agree that if we can have smaller little snippets, I'd really kind of get into the lore.
Yeah, I think it would be good, like Trendon's saying, for new people to kind of get into it. It's nice to have that little drip feed rather than the big chunk, because it's a bit of a commitment, and if you're not already invested in the where the origin of the elves in EverQuest, and you kind of think, oh, I know what elves are all about, they're snooty and whatever. The little drips, I know that I'm definitely more happy to read a shorter little hit and kind of get a little bit that way.
That's one thing I was going to say, Trendane, is even though you didn't get to play EQ1 and 2, the lore's kind of been thrown out the window. I made a video, just a 10-minute kind of snippet talking about just the new lore, because everything's changed. They kept a few things, just mainly the names in some of the places, but everything else is just out the window. So
yeah, I think it was either George or not George. It was either Dave or Terry who mentioned that a lot of the names are the same, but the way that we're using them is very different. And so, for that, a lot of people are like, oh, well, you can read all the lore here, and I'm like, okay, if it's going to be new stuff, why should I bother front loading stuff that doesn't apply?
Right? Yeah, all the old stuff. Yeah, exactly. All right, we have no questions so far.
It's okay. We still got plenty to talk about.
I know, but usually we have like 100 by now. Come on, people. What's the questions?
People know everything. That's the problem.
Oh my God, I said that, and here comes a wall of text from Breezy Easy. Thank you, Breezy. There we go. Okay. All right, so topic number 4, permadeath. I love permadeath. I'm a big fan of permadeath. Maybe Locke's not so much a fan of permadeath. They haven't really explained permadeath so much in this, but I was going to talk about this, and Trendane might talk about this too, about Star Citizen, which is another game coming up shortly, and they're going to have a permadeath system that works like this. Basically, you're a pilot of a craft, and you're leveling up that craft in the game. You're buying new gear and stuff like that to snap onto the craft to make that more powerful. So your character really doesn't count. It's not like you're running around in suits of armor. You just got a character. And so what happens is you will get blown up, and say you only get mildly blown up, and some ship can come by, pick you up, and take you back, and you get fixed up, just a little bit of scratch. You get a couple scratches, no big deal, no big whoop. And so then you go back out. You had insurance on your ship, so you go back out and you're flying around, and somebody comes up and blows you up again. And this time you get worsely blown up. This time they take off your arm and your leg. They take you back. They stick an arm and a leg on you. You look like Full Metal Alchemist, and you send you back out. And then you get blown up again. This time, though, they blow you up. Like, literally, all your body parts go everywhere, and they can't put you back together. Okay? So, what ends up happening is you had a will and testament, and your complete death, they will your ship over and all of your equipment, everything over to whoever you listed there, and it could be your aunt, your uncle, your son, your daughter, whoever. And so it's kind of a neat idea for permadeath. I don't know if EQ Next would have something like that, but if they had a system like this, and Zaphos could be running around, and if he gets killed enough, he wills his brick factory over to Locke, and Locke can then take over his character. No, not Locke, but it would be a character that that Zaphos controls. So,
the inheritor's name is Loche.
Loche. Yeah, very, very French. Go ahead. So, what do you guys think about the Q&A question and your thoughts?
Roundtable question.
Roundtable, I'm sorry, yeah, roundtable.
Okay, so... Oh god, permadeath, I think for... me personally, for an MMO, like, with my sort of main character, I like to feel invested in that character. I like to play very similar races. I tend to play dwarves if I can. Or something like that I can kind of sort of identify with, and I play in a certain way. I tend to play very very kind of upstanding citizen characters. It's not a conscious choice. It's just for some reason the way I behave in games. When I play like BioWare games, like Knights of the Old Republic or Mass Effect or something, I generally go the sort of Paragon end, like just because that's. So I have a sort of idea in my head of like how my character should be, and I over the course of leveling, I like to sort of build a sort of bond with that character, and I feel like in an MMO that is meant to be potentially played for multiple years, I think if you add permadeath into that and characters become disposable, I think for me that would take a lot away from the MMO experience. I want to be invested in my character. I want to feel like I've been on a journey with them, or else I really start just like hopping around loads of different islands. That's how I know when I'm bored of a character, when I start creating 10 new ones in a day and just leave because I just don't care about them.
You want to make new phase.
But moving on to the way it was presented in the roundtable discussion is quite interesting, because it was put on there, even though I believe like they have confirmed that it definitely won't be permadeath, so it's kind of a joke response. But it was put in there, in my opinion, because then it takes it from permadeath to no real consequences at all. Basically, just bounce back up and carry on going, like sort of Guild Wars 2 style. Like you just go from the closest waypoint and you're straight back in inside 30 seconds. And it really does work on a sort of sliding scale across, and you've got the corpse runs piled in. And that's kind of about this particular... I always have a problem with these roundtable questions, but, from that standpoint, it was a little bit disappointing to me that it was basically just a linear scale of, like, how harsh do you want the death penalty to be? And there was nothing in there of, like, how about this completely insane idea? How about this thing that we've never seen before? How about this system, like you were saying, the Star Citizen? What if you were? I think someone put something like it on Reddit as well, where they were saying, maybe the first time you knocked out, the second time you maimed, and then the third time, you're critically injured, and it could be really bad. You could lose stat points or whatever. There was no kind of trying to like spark discussions of like different or new mechanics or things we haven't seen before, or even some crazy like life insurance policies that we could possibly be taking out with other players. Maybe player-run insurance companies, that'd be awesome in a sandbox. There was none of that. There was just like where on this line do you want it? And that, to me, that was disappointing for a roundtable question, which is being plugged more and more as like a forum for discussion rather than a decision-making tool. Deep breath. I think I covered all the bases there.
Yeah. What do you think, Trendane?
I think with Star Citizen, since there sort of kind of hasn't quite been a game like it. It's starting from an empty slate, and so there is no preconception of, well, it's been like this in games before. Now, EverQuest has had earlier iterations of itself where permadeath wasn't really an issue. If you died, you respawn over there and you run back to your tombstone. Plus, with fantasy, and RPG and MMO things, people, as you said, Locke, they tend to get more invested in the character itself, and I think that one of the things that the guys from EQN mentioned is that they don't want to have anything happen that makes the character or makes the player regret their choices. They don't want to have any regrets. And I think that having this character that they've grown to identify with, they've put so much effort into. In EverQuest, having a permadeath kind of situation would start to feel like I shouldn't have gone in and raided that boss. I shouldn't have done that way. With Star Citizen, you don't have that pre-existing, mentality. And the fact is that going in that this is the way it is because there is no. It's probably the bank calling again. Because there is no, established paradigm for how it's been before.
Mm-hmm. That's very true.
I think did they definitely say that they didn't want people to regret any choices that they made? I remember this was something that got kicked up after the.
That was specifically about skill trees and stuff.
Yeah, they were talking about it was the race class restrictions response video, wasn't it? I remember everyone sort of took that to mean that, they just wanted, I saw loads of responses to it of, sky is falling people, but I think like what they were actually saying in the video was like they didn't want people to have to make choices that had far-reaching consequences that they couldn't understand yet.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't think it was they didn't they said in the very first SOE live thing it's about a life of consequence. They want you to make choices that matter, but they want you to understand what that choice means to your character. And I think in the context of the race class restrictions, they were saying it could potentially cut you off from something that you couldn't possibly know about, and that is a quit point for it. And it's interesting as well because it's a quit point for people who consider themselves to be hardcore, but a lot of the people who self-identify as being hardcore were saying it was making the game more casual. I could go on about this for a long time.
It's fine.
But I hope that I see what I mean, because you get a lot of players who consider themselves very hardcore, and they always want to min max, and they always want their character to be optimal, which is a very it's a very MMO way to behave. Everyone wants to optimize and be the best that they can be. And if people are cut off from a particular choice that is considered to be very powerful or overpowered, or just be the flavor of the month that people have seen on the YouTube videos, like bursting people down in 2 seconds, they're like, I want to play that, and they go, oh no, you can't because you're the wrong race. Like that can be a quit point for people if they feel like they can't get in there. Sorry, I've really gone off on a tangent.
That's all right.
But this was the thing, because I've noticed a lot since that roundtable response video came out. A lot of people thinking that the devs were saying they don't want people to be able to regret anything. I'm not sure that's exactly what they were saying. It's like they don't want people to make choices that they can't understand, and then come to regret a choice that they didn't even realize was that choice that they were making.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I get what you're saying. That's kind of been going in the back of my mind for a while, so I wanted to get that out there while I have a platform.
There you are. Any counter to that, Mr. Trendane? You agree with
Well, I was never in debate class in high school, but I think one of the best retorts I ever heard was, well, you're just stupid. But that never won any arguments. So, no. But for an actual...
I concede, sir.
Wow, that does work.
It does
Holy
work.
crap.
Use
I
it
have to
more
remember
often.
that one, especially in Bay Area traffic. I've got to remember that. No real response to that, really. No,
Okay.
I think we're both kind of on the same page. We just
Yeah, I agree with
explained
it
it
too.
better than I
Yeah.
did.
It was just that one little thing, because I've heard it repeated going around a lot, and
Yeah.
I think it's not quite the intention that the developers had.
Yeah.
Sort of like the round table with the contested content. It's not explained very well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, it is now Q&A time. Dun, dun, dun. So everybody, please leave a question in brackets. Just type the word question, and then we'll know that's a question. I can grab it a little bit quicker over here. I just had the first one here, which was from Mr. Breezy Easy. It's a long one, so are you guys ready? I'll throw it at you.
Yeah.
During the debut, they said that the movement video was two of the devs racing. Yet it had no UI on the screen, and a lot of people were saying it was just a tech demo. Because of this, oh, sorry, I read that wrong. I was wondering if it was possible that the game doesn't have a conventional UI where you see your abilities. With 8 abilities, I could see you picking your skills and keying them in a pull-up window, and while you're playing, you're just seeing your character and the environment. What are your thoughts?
You can do that in WoW.
Mm-hmm.
You can, like go to your 6th hotbar, and you can set 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for these different moves, and then you can hit, I can't remember the hotkey, but you can turn off the UI, and then you can just go, and it's exactly the way that it was in that video. Now, when we were working on different games at Electronic Arts, a lot of times we would have to have the engineers stop whatever development they were doing. They're like, man, E3 is coming up. We need a displayable, a playable version of this game that we can show to the press. And basically, like 3 or 4 guys would stop whatever they were working on and would fix as many bugs as possible to make this section of the game playable, either to the press or by the press or whatever.
So just one level or something.
If even that.
Okay.
And you wind up getting, developers who are like, I need to make this tree perfect. No, just fix these bugs. Okay, stop worrying about the tree.
Make it so we don't fall through the earth.
Something.
But the sun shafts.
You don't understand. It's my autistic expression. I have to get this perfect. No, you don't. No, perfect is not what we're shooting for. That's 2 years from now. Just get it working for right now. A lot of other people too also addressed that question. A lot of other people were saying that wasn't actually gameplay, that it was a very tight course that they were following.
Yeah, the mobs didn't even move. They just stood there with like swords.
Mm-hmm. Like and that wasn't indicative of true gameplay. They said the same thing about the wider demo, I think, when actually that might have been Elder Scrolls Online. Never mind.
Okay.
Carry on.
No, that's fine.
Same principle.
Talk amongst yourselves. Well, I do. In response to the question, I have no doubt that the player characters were being controlled by devs. I don't think the abilities or animations or anything in that are in any way final. Like I think they only used 2 or 3 abilities each. During the whole thing anyway, so I'm sure in that sense, it probably was a tech demo. We've seen hints of like a work in, not a work in progress, what do you call it, a placeholder UI, like in some of the like tour around the offices sections. We've seen like the screen and it has a UI on it, which we have to assume is functioning. Are we gonna see it in the game? Like I noticed on the some of the Elder Scrolls Online footage. I haven't been following it that closely, but it is when you're out of combat, it hides, doesn't it? And then it just comes up when you're in combat. I thought that was quite a cool thing. Mm-hmm. If you are working with a limited hotbar, if it's only 8 abilities, then maybe I'd be tempted. I'd want my health bar and my energy or mana or whatever. But maybe it'd be cool to hide the UI with 8 abilities.
I do know that they mentioned that they want this to be as visually beautiful as possible. They don't want you looking at a UI. They don't want mini maps and every different type of iteration of buttons and doodads. And
but when you're working with cooldowns, though, that's the only thing. If I've got a skill that's got a cooldown longer than a few seconds, then I want to see it. I want to see the cooldown. I want it, to be a numerical display, right in front of my face, so like I know exactly how long I've got. Mm-hmm. And that's just
I
me.
think also part of what they were talking about, because I've seen this also with WoW a lot, and people getting various, raid add-ons and whatnot, and I've seen YouTube videos where people have got, over half of their screen covered with buttons. Just thinking, I'm just like, you can't even see the game world anymore. What is the point of it at that point? It's
you don't have to, because they've got deadly boss mods.
Yep. And okay, move.
Flashes up on the screen.
Yeah, exactly.
Run away, little girl.
Stop.
Yep. Exactly.
Like
Yeah, you don't need it anymore. Yeah, I've seen the same thing, Jenny, and it drives me nuts. I'm a minimalism fan, so I would see these videos of these people, and it was just literally all the way around. There was a section. It reminded me of the old EverQuest, and when EverQuest first came out, it was literally a square screen about this big in the middle, and it had buttons all the way around the outside. And if you opened your spell book, it blocked out the screen. There was you couldn't see anything else but the spell book, and that was the good old days. So. I tried it, and once they opened it up. What was it? When did they open that UI up? And somebody in the audience will probably know. But one of the expansions came out, and it was like, oh, look at this! We don't have to look at these gray buttons anymore. Yeah, I can see everything. It's so crazy.
Oh, now, you know, a UI I have seen recently that I really liked.
Which is that?
Oh God, what was it? What was it called? It's the one that's set. It's like New York in the near future, and it's some kind of disaster. It's like an online co-op shooter.
Don't know.
Someone help me out. Does it begin with a W?
It sounds familiar.
It's a Tom Clancy one. This is why I was thinking about it recently. Anyone?
I immediately think Rainbow Six. No, it was not Rainbow Six.
Warframe or War
it's a new one. It's a next gen one that's coming out next year. Oh my God, why can't I remember the name of it? It'll come to me and I'll shout it out, and everyone will be, no, not Watch Dogs. God damn it. Oh, what's it called? They did at E3. There was like a 13-minute tech demo, and it's like 3 people walking through. And walking through a kind of devastated New York. Come on, chat, help me out, people.
It's okay.
The Division.
Oh, the Division.
Yeah, that starts with a W.
It does.
It's close.
Division.
It's a silent W. Shut up, Trent.
Yeah, the Division. Sorry, it's called The Division. Tom Clancy's The Division. It's a co-op shooter thing. You should definitely look at it just in terms of game design and how the UI works. Like all the UI as much as possible is kind of done HUD style. So it's all kind of around your character, but it's one of those things where you only notice it when you're actually looking at it. You know, it's very non-intrusive, and the way the whole game is designed, like when the map comes up, it's like they project it on the floor, so it becomes a 3D projection. So you're still in the game, but it's like doing a 3D map projection around you. And there's a couple of other bits, like when he's changing his loadout and stuff, it's like this sci-fi thing that comes off his wrist, so it's like you're still in the game, but it like comes off, and you can select through the different things. And I like the idea of, you know, menus and you know, displays and things being like a part of the visual game world, rather than being, you know, this separate overlaid thing on top of the game. That's we got there in the end. That's
I will look for it afterwards, definitely.
It's an amazing
rest in peace, Mr. Clancy.
Yes, exactly. I was just going to say that. Rest in peace. He just died the other day. He's pretty young too, 66. It's not that old. Okay, next question is from, I think, the next one down was Phantom X? Yes. Phantom X says...
Phantom X, my
boy. No, I'm sorry. Before Phantom X, there was another one. It was a small one. I missed it. All right. Esos24 says, should EQ Next and Landmark have cross-server chat?
Ooh.
I can't see any reason why they shouldn't.
I don't know. It can get a bit noisy, right? If there's like 20 servers all chatting in the same general.
Well, I mean, are we talking chat, like public chat? Or are we talking the ability to talk to individual people?
Oh, like World of Warcraft with your friends.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, that'd be fine, in my opinion. What do you think?
Map chat, guild chat, cross-game guild chat would be good. Because I imagine a lot of people will be playing both games, but the population for Landmark will probably take a bit of a nosedive after EQN comes out. Yeah. So it'd be nice to, you know, if you were going to stay in Landmark, or, you know, go backwards and forwards between the two, which I guess SOE are hoping people will do, then I think it would be very beneficial to have guild chat. I don't know anything about how server architecture works or anything like that, so I couldn't possibly.
I think it's a separate server for just chat, I think, and they could probably just tap into it. Yeah. What do you think, Mr. Trendane?
I honestly don't know. I can't see why they would run separate servers just for chat. That would
No,
add
no,
another.
I'm just thinking mechanically, not like there's just a server you go to chat on.
No. That's what I mean.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
piping the stuff through another. I mean, I could see a separate channel within the same server, but I don't see building a whole nother machine just to process chat stuff and feed it back into the game. That would, if you're going to build another server, build another game server so that you know. I mean, spread the population a little bit thinner and give them the ability to talk back and forth. Don't build separate, servers just to process chat.
You know better than I, that's for sure. Mm-hmm. All right, next question from Phantom X. What do you think about the announcement that combat was always planned for Landmark? Is there more we don't know about? Is Landmark going to be a sort of beta for EQ Next? I'll take this one.
Okay.
Okay, I think they this is my opinion. I think they stuck it in there afterwards. I don't think it was always planned to have combat. I think Landmark, in my opinion, was probably always planned to be like in Minecraft where you could build things and everything. And then they started seeing more and more people were going to be interested in it, and it really excited the people. So they said, you know what, why don't we throw combat in there? And that's kind of leading into his question, so that now this turns into a mass beta. It's a free beta. You get to play around the world and play around with the whole voxel architecture and try everything out. And then we can take all what we've learned and put it into a super highly polished EQ Next. That's what I think.
Could be. I was very excited to hear Trendane's opinion on this, actually, from the point of view of testing. Yeah. I mean, as far as putting combat into it, I have no reason to not believe the devs when they say it started out as tools that became sort of more and more advanced, and
right.
People just had fun, and they thought, we can give this to players, so why the hell shouldn't we? And I'm sure the phrase Minecraft sold 11 million units, has been said inside the black box at the SOE development studios. They've got to be thinking about that in terms of the way that the game mechanics work. As far as like adding combat to it, yeah, I'm sure that came about as like through the sort of iterative design process. How far can we push this? Like, what are we gonna possibly like be able to do with this tool? I think at least they're going to want to be able to replicate everything that you can do, in a game like Minecraft. Mm-hmm. So yes, as far as it being like a beta for EverQuest Next, I think there's so much potential for like trying out so many different just like crazy systems, and like seeing what players come up with as well. That's why, in my opinion, it's in their best interest to just get as many things as possible into Landmark, let the players mess about with it, see what the players come up with, and see if through those thousands and thousands of man hours of
per day.
Yeah, per day. Like, putting in like playing around with all these different systems and seeing what works, and if something happens to be a big hit that no one else considered. There's a hell of a lot of creative people that play these games. A hell of a lot of creative people that play.
But it's kind of taking from Trendane's job, right? Sort of turning the whole testing over to the players. Well, let's let straight talk, because it's what we're talking about. Go ahead, sorry, Trendane.
Well, this does lead directly into kind of why you asked me to be on the show.
Yeah.
So it's a good time for it. One of the things, the initial question that kind of brought you, I guess, to me to ask to be on the show was the fact that it was many, many episodes ago that you guys were talking about, do they have time to thoroughly test the tool set before they release Landmark this winter? That was the question that kind of initially got us talking about me being on the show. And the answer to that is absolutely, because if, as they've said, these are the tools that the devs have been using. So they've already gotten about as much testing as you're going to get with the devs using them. Now the trick is to hand them off to the users to try to use them in ways that the devs don't have time to do, because the devs have a deadline. They can't get crazy experimental like we can. So then it becomes our job to find out how far can we push these tools? What ways can we use them that the devs haven't had time, and bandwidth to be able to do yet? Mm-hmm. That's where, effectively the beta of Landmark comes into play. I think that, is there stuff we still don't know about? Yes, absolutely. There is a bunch of stuff they haven't told us about yet. There has to be. As far as combat, I think it probably wasn't intended to be in there. But once the whole comparative to Minecraft came about, and there's combat in Minecraft, and I think the addition of combat probably started pulling in people who weren't that interested in building, but wanted to have something more, a different activity to do, and it would bring in even more people to effectively run a sort of faux beta test of the thing, and so it just increased those numbers, and it was easy enough to just plug the combat mechanics in, I would imagine. And so yeah, they I would imagine probably increased their tester numbers by at least 15% with the addition of combat.
Yeah. Real quick, guys, I'm reading the questions off of the chat, so I got to scroll back up. If you're writing stuff below, I can't see it. So one of you two, if you could tell me if they're saying any questions directly to what we're saying. But
I'm not listening to those people.
All right, good. So yeah, that's a great way to look at it. All right, next question from Cyril. Special servers. It's like special sauce. I think I know what he's asking, like RP servers, old people servers for people with learning disabilities, whatever. These
servers,
kind of servers
for people with oddly shaped feet.
Yes. Silly walk servers. Yes. So what do you guys think? Are they going to be having just specifically RP people over the age 30? What kind of servers do you think that they could be thinking of, or are they not going to even bother with that kind of thing?
Well, once we have the servers that are sponsored by a Geritol, then I suppose I could get. No, I would say that, yeah, they will almost certainly have, like at least an RP set, because as we've seen on the forums for Star Citizen, there is a huge disparity between RPers are stupid and everything else. So yeah, there's going to be the people who just want to grind and they want to do combat, they want to exclusively do PvP, and then there's going to be the people like me who want to RP a bit, who don't know the lore yet. So that's going to be challenging. But yes, I would say yes, there will probably be special servers.
Yeah, I think so too. What about you, Mr. Locke?
Honestly, I know it's a controversial opinion, but I hope that they don't have separate servers. I think in a sandbox game like this and the way that the class system works, I think, and David Georgeson himself has said, if you want to make a really good MMO, you need to get a lot of different types of people all in the same space. That's how you build a real community. It's not, it's not about like, I am playing this game because I want to PvP. It's like, well, go find a lobby-based PvP game. That will suit your needs probably better. Like, that was my best condescending voice then.
That was great.
I hope that you appreciate it. But, and if you want to RP, there's probably, there's better things you can do in places where, you don't have to worry about people that have rolled on the wrong server, which has happened to me actually. I haven't even RP'd very much, and I was, someone took the piss out of me for doing it. Well, anyway, it's so much fun though, isn't it?
Picking on the RPers?
Am I like? It's not what I dedicate most of my time to, but just occasionally, it's awesome.
No,
anyway,
I love RP. Yeah.
But I just think it's so much better when you can just really bring everyone together and get everyone interacting within the same space. And if anyone who's watched my videos, especially the last few, knows that I'm all about kind of creating a world where all the systems interact with each other, to produce something bigger than any one particular type of game can be. And I think that's what, if you're developing an MMO for example, that's kind of what you should be striving for, that world building, rather than just one game that does one that's just very focused. It needs to be open, in my opinion.
All right, Mr.
10 minutes.
You're laughing. No, we go over. We go over all the
just
time.
saying, 10 minutes.
Oh, are we planning on finishing in 10 minutes? Sorry, I've got someone asking.
No, I was just announcing that it was 10 minutes to 3.
No, it's okay. We'll go over. We usually go over. There was only that 1 week we had to finish because I think Locke had to get his beard manicured or something.
The beard doesn't get manicured. The beard.
I was going to say, I don't think you can do that unless you've got fingernails. I mean, I know it's all keratinized, and your fingernails have more keratin in it than your beard do, but if you've got fingernails growing out of your beard, that is some seriously Doctor Who stuff going on right there. Just don't.
All right, we talked a little bit about this next question last week, which was any word on physics in the voxel farm any word on water physics in the voxel farm engine and how it might work in EQN. I did see a tech demo, and I don't have it ready. I should have loaded it up. I didn't realize this question would come back around again. But it's amazing. It's basically this big, huge hill, and on top of the hill is a lake, and it's all voxels. And this guy pokes a hole in it and lets it run down the side of the hill. And the way the water kind of rolls over everything, it's gorgeous. It looks beautiful. It looks like, like a waterfall. So, I don't know. What do you guys think? Water physics.
I think that guy's an ass for drowning all those poor field mice.
It was just like Waterships Down, there's a bunch of rabbits.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good point.
Childhood trauma.
Yeah, that story wrecked me.
I saw it in the basement of the Richardson, Texas Public Library when I was 9. There's nothing like watching that movie when you're 9 years old. Watching the Black Rabbit of Death lead Fiverr to where Hazel's been shot and listening to the sound of his heartbeat, and you freak out and run out of that library screaming at the top of your lungs.
Bright eyes.
Don't you do it, Garfunkel. I swear I will reach through this monitor.
Oh my god. Yeah, it's good stuff, man. Traumatic stories from our youth. Secret of Nim's just about as bad.
No, Secret of Nim was nowhere.
Yeah, Watership Down was scary.
Yeah.
Alright, okay,
Like
so
dogs.
next question from Frax Firestorm. Should they limit modding to avoid boss mods and all the UI crap we were talking about? I'm actually on the fence about that. I kind of like add-ons to some extent. I don't want DPS meters. Definitely no DPS meters. But allowing the community to be able to develop some of these things, I think helps the game out, because that's what Blizzard did. They have the whole community was building these add-ons, and then they would take the best ones and put them in the game just straight up. Not even credit the other people, but who cares, right? So
I think you just covered it. I think your answer to that would be yes.
Yes.
Because you just said that you're okay with some mods. I mean, you don't want like DPS meters.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, the original question being, should they limit them? Yes.
Yes.
I mean, don't eliminate them altogether, but I mean, put a limit on which ones you can do, because I mean, if people want to, like we were talking about earlier, put in so many add-ons that you can't even see the game world anymore, you're not playing the right game.
Right.
It's just
something else.
Yeah.
What do you think, Mr. Locke? Add-ons.
I always go backwards and forwards when I think about add-ons. It's my similar kind of stance with things like Landmark. I like it when players can really kind of get a hold of things and see what they can come up with at the same time. As Trendane mentioned earlier, when you play World of Warcraft and half your screen is just covered with flashing lights and shiny things and buttons to press and things that tell you happen instead of actually being engaged and immersed and playing the game. I suppose you are still immersed, but it's a very mechanical thing, and I think hopefully we're getting to the point in the same way as with Trinity Combat. It's something that worked very well at one point when we were at one point with game development, but I think that now we're kind of I would like to get to the point where it would, within the game design, it didn't really make sense to use mods in the traditional way that we've seen. Something like DBM probably wouldn't work with EverQuest because of the emergent AI. Something like DPS meters. I pray this is my biggest hope for Guild Wars 2 was that Guild Wars 2 doesn't allow add-ons, but I was hoping they would become redundant because people would actually have to occupy various roles within a group. That didn't quite happen with Guild Wars 2, but they were shooting for it. And I hope that in EverQuest Next, with the way that fingers crossed, we hope that the combat's going to work in the way that the world is designed. I'm kind of thinking hopefully just pure direct how much DPS can you squeeze out of your build isn't going to be the most the be all and end all of of the game design, of the combat design.
Well, that's the one problem with DPS meters, is it gives those people that like to rag on other people that because they're not hitting that, you're not getting 10,000 DPS or whatever the number is, and then it's
but I'm getting 9,000 and I'm healing you for however much per second.
And I'm enjoying myself.
I revived this guy and I CC'd this bunch of mobs. I want it to feel like a fight. What I mean? I want it to feel like everyone's kind of getting stuck in and
And not worried about the
having to do
details.
different things and having to react to things. But in terms of mods, there's some cool things, bag mods, mail mods, hot bars, things that don't like play the game for you or tell you anything that you shouldn't be able to work out with your human brain.
But maybe like a countdown clock or something, like a timer, things like that might not be built into the game, but there's simple little mods that you can, you want to monitor how much time you played today, and you can turn on the timer. Little things like that don't break the game, but they just make it a little bit more efficient.
With one of the big things that in QA we make very, very clear to new testers that we bring in is we need to make sure of two things. The first is an absolute requirement. The second one is really close to required, but ultimately it's still optional. The first thing is the game fun? Mm-hmm. If it is not fun, nobody's going to play the damn thing. It has to be fun. It doesn't matter if it's super clever, if it's complicated, if it's simple, it doesn't matter. What matters is it fun? The second thing is, what is its replayability? Does it have good replayability? Because if you go through with EverQuest Next and you take some character, I know they don't have levels, but you go through and you've done just about everything, and suddenly you're like, man, what would this be like? Would it be a radically different experience if I go back and play as this other thing? And it's that replayability that brings you to want to make another character and try the game from a different perspective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. All right, so that's good. Let's move on to the next one.
Okay.
Number 77 from Shadowmant. Could Landmark open SOE to extra risk, since if people don't enjoy it, they may not want to sign up for EverQuest Next, thinking it will be more of the same thing? That's a good point. What do you think, Mr. Locke?
I think that's a very good question. It's not something I've put a huge amount of thought to. I suppose, there's a lot of confusion already about, the fact that they are two different games. Mm-hmm. There is that, even though obviously they share a huge amount, there's a very definite distinction between the two of them. I think, some people are quite puzzled by that because it's obviously very new. I think over the course of when they go live, hopefully, that confusion will dissipate very quickly. At least amongst all but the most dogged detractors of SOE's efforts, will probably still, try and throw muck at it. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that don't like building games that, really enjoy certain aspects of MMOs, like, super hardcore raider types, probably, don't enjoy building houses, building houses as much as some of us do. So there probably will be people who like one game and don't like the other. Hopefully, though, like my hope is they actually support each other. And, in the end, like maybe a lot of people that really enjoy building games that wouldn't normally consider playing an MMO now go, oh my God, that so-and-so from our guild, like his or her thing that they've built is going to be actually in the game. Oh, should we go check it out? Oh, but doesn't it cost something? Don't we have to pay a monthly fee? No, it is free. Come and join us. Marvel at your works. So I think hopefully, in as much as I'm sure there will be some people who only play one or the other, hopefully there's more kind of crossover than we've seen before.
How about you, Mr. Trendane?
What?
Block does tend to ramble, but it's okay. It's a nice ramble.
I do go on.
I swear it's the beer.
Sorry.
It's the beer. No,
it's part of my charm, I promise.
Oh, thank God you've told me that. No, initially when I heard about them, I thought that all Landmark was a tool set. Mm-hmm. That's all I thought it was. Okay, here is the construct from the Matrix. It's this big empty white void that you can build anything you want.
Good example.
And that's all I thought it was. And then I realized that that's effectively kind of, in a way, what it is, because now they're adding combat, and you get to go in and run is that an agent? That chick in the red dress? Oh my God, no, she totally just turned into Terrence Stamp. Not Terrence Stamp. Yeah, Terrence Stamp was not in the Matrix. That would have been horrific if he had been. Anyway, It's bad enough seeing him in Priscilla, Queen of the Desert.
It's a good movie, by the way.
It is a great movie. But no, when I found out that it was more than just, a tool set to go in and build things, or that it was that, in depth of a tool set, that I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. And you actually get to, because just building something is one thing. I mean, I like to let's look at my favorite crafting system in a game was in Vanguard. I loved the crafting in Vanguard a great deal. Another game that was not nearly so heavily played was Darkfall, which you actually got to build towns. You would go over to where there was this city stone thing, and you would build a bank, and you would build walls, and you would slowly build this town, and people could come in and just start destroying the living crap out of it at any given point. And it was full world open PvP, and it had some really cool elements to it, but nobody ever really, it didn't get the momentum that it needed because it wasn't just that popular of a game. That was 2006 2007, I think. Anyway, for EverQuest Next and Landmark, I think that there is going to be a bit of a disparity as far as the two groups are concerned. I think that a lot of people, I don't think it's going to have enough combat in Landmark to bring in as many of the people that are going to be playing EverQuest Next itself.
Okay. Sorry, I was just reading something. I want to say a special hello to the devs that are in the chat right now. Sorry. I was reading
there are devs in the chat?
Yeah, there are devs in the chat.
Okay, I take back everything I said.
Yeah.
Oh my god. No, I take back nothing. I regret nothing except for that one screenshot that Omid took. Oh god, that was just...
That was bad.
Was it when you guys went blazer shopping the other day?
No, it was not. We haven't actually gone blazer shopping. It was never mind. It doesn't matter what it was. Omid knows what it was. And nobody else needs to know.
We do need Omid on the show. He has a beard. He's accepted anytime he wants to come on the show.
That's true. That's very, very true.
So, all right. Any more questions, folks? I think we're getting down to the end. I'm just going to go back through real quick and see if there's any that were written that weren't written as question in brackets. There was a couple I thought I saw flying by.
If we are coming close to the end of the show, we do have an announcement to make.
Okay.
Are we ready?
Hold on, let me just double check real quick. Talk amongst yourself for just a second. Let me see if I can find a...
Okay, so there was this one time I was out camping and I saw this thing. I thought, oh my god, it's a bear. It actually wasn't a bear. It was like a chaise lounge that was sitting over on the other side of the river. And I thought, oh my god, what if it comes over here and it tries to kill me? Now, granted, it was the Colorado River, so it's not like a little trickling stream or anything. So it's like I'm looking at this thing on the other side of the Grand Canyon, and my boyfriend turns to me. He's like, what are you looking at? I said, it's none of your damn business. Go back to the campfire. I want my hamburger. And he...
What do you want us to talk about? I mean,
that's perfect. I don't care. That was great. That was awesome.
Oh, I saw that guy from Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yes, that was. Yes,
exactly who it is.
That was perfect. Spot on the nose with that one. All right, real quick. Question from Legendary Neurotoxin. Hello, Legendary Neurotoxin. He's a regular viewer, and he's always here asking stuff, so I'm glad to see him. What do you guys think of the different languages being factored in gameplay? So, like somebody speaking French, another one speaking English.
I thought you meant like Cobalt or something. I was like, that was one of the coolest parts.
Maybe. Okay, we could look at that too. Maybe we're talking about Orc. In the original EverQuest, you had to learn other languages, and if you set them, or you were around them enough, I see a little thing tick up, you've learned one more in Dark Elf or whatever it was.
I thought that was really cool because it was the same way in EverQuest too. You would get a primer, and then that would give you a little bit, to start learning. Because I would have my Karen sitting out listening to goblins, or little gnolls or whatever talking.
Bite, short sharp teeth.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for saying primer. By the way, I said that in a video the other day, and I got blasted because everyone said, "No, it's primer."
Yeah, and it's plurality and diurnal. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, Locke, what do you think about languages?
I think that they can definitely add a lot to a game. I think in a sandbox environment, it can be very interesting. It could be another form of progression, but I think like with the race class combinations, they might shy away from it a little bit more, as they're probably going to want anyone and everyone to be able to pick up the game and immediately be able to communicate between themselves regardless of whatever race that they pick. I think maybe Although it would be cool, like if you had like a kobold language and that you could learn.
That
like,
would be great, right?
like, through interaction. I think that'd be kind of funny. Sorry, I'm terribly distracted at the moment. I'm trying to do something else at the same time, and it turns out multitasking is not my forte.
We're men.
But
We're
it'll all
just
be
not
worth
good
it.
at that.
I promise.
Okay,
You will all be very happy.
I'm terribly distracted as well. Don't worry about it. It's Omid's doing.
Maybe we can get legendary neurotoxin on. Apparently, he has a beard too.
Ooh.
Oh, Neurotoxin's my hero.
Instant
Brilliant.
cachet into the group if you got a beard.
Definitely. He's put up some really good threads on the EQ Nexus forums actually.
Yeah.
So just a shout out to Neurotoxin.
All right. I guess that's about it. What would you like to say, Mr. Locke? What is the big announcement?
The big announcement is I have been informed, which is why I've been distracted this week, that there is a brand new development diary about EverQuest Next from the development team going up on the official EverQuest Next YouTube channel as soon as we finish our broadcast.
Ooh, that is amazing.
So after we're done here, I told you it'd be worth it. I'm terribly sorry I've been all over the place this week, but yes.
Does that mean we can troll
things
them?
are happening. The wonderful devs in the chat have let me know, and yes, it will be up on YouTube.
We could just start filibustering and just keep that journal from getting posted. And no, wait, the government shut down. We can't filibuster.
Oh my god! You know what they emailed me the private link, and I was like, I could just watch it myself. I could just turn my camera.
Oh, it's unlisted video.
It was like, sorry.
If you I guess. Oh, they already posted it. There it is. Thank
Yeah,
you,
it is.
Zaria.
Available.
Or Zar. Sorry, I mispronounced her name.
You Z person.
So I imagine most people have stopped watching already.
Oh, see, Omid says our show is over. Look at that. Got devs telling us what we're doing. Get off the air!
So yeah, right. Brilliant. Yeah, everyone's leaving.
Everyone's like, but look at it's just dropping off now.
Oh, this is brilliant.
63-2, like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god, Omid shut us down permanently.
Oh, forever. Oh,
well, we had a
well, how are we gonna ever get you on the show then?
I'm glad you managed to get in for at least one.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I guess that's good. That's a good amount of time. We've been on over an hour, so it's a good show. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Thank you to all the people watching. We have over 63 tonight. That was awesome. And thank you so much for the devs coming and giving us that exclusive, nifty new thing that we're having a dev. I'm going to go watch it right now when I get off the air.
Yeah.
So,
I'm not going to lie down.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
That is awesome. How can we top that before we finish?
I don't know.
Doesn't matter.
Trendane, say something funny. Be funny, man.
Oh, okay. I don't know. How adult am I allowed to get on this show? Because I could say my favorite Harvey Firestein quote. As long as it's happened watershed in the UK, who cares? No, my favorite Harvey Firestein quote, which is from a wonderful movie called Torch Song Trilogy. He said there's a scene where he's chasing his mother. He gets back to his apartment, and the guy that he's living with, almost closes the door on him. And the guy's name is Ed. And Ed's like, "Whoops!" And Harvey Firestein says, "Whoops, Ed? Did you just say whoops?" No, Ed. Whoops is when you fall down an elevator shaft. Whoops is when you skinny dip in a school of piranha. Whoops is when you accidentally douche with Drano. This was not a whoops. This was an I love that movie so much.
And on that note, see you later. Thanks everybody for coming tonight. We will see you very soon. This will be available on YouTube, and we'll also have it available for audio-only podcasts for those who want to listen to it on their iPod. So thanks a lot, everybody, again. A good night.
See you later, guys.